to 360 Wellness. My name is Andrea Barrett, and I am your host. This is a show where we talk about all things health, a 360-degree look at your health. And here in Canada, it's November, and it's cold. The temperature has dropped a little drastically. When it comes to November, as it's getting colder, we put on more layers to stay warm. And November represents a lot of things. Remembrance Day happens here in Canada. It's also Prostate Awareness Month, where we encourage men to get their prostate checked and to learn more about having good prostate health. And it's also Diabetes Awareness Month. That is something that is very significant to me personally. I, as most people know, have a family history of type 2 diabetes. My grandmother had type 2 diabetes. My mother had type 2 diabetes. My father was also diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. So this month is extra special to me in the form of me wanting to give back. So I do a lot of workshops and presentations and teaching on the importance of lowering your blood sugar, the importance of balancing your blood sugar, and how diabetes has impacted our lives. So during this show, I'm going to share a little bit about my journey and my family's journey on what type 2 diabetes and what Diabetes Awareness Month means to me. So several years ago, I had an opportunity to volunteer with the Canadian Diabetes Association, a really great experience, and I valued all the relationships I built there and the teaching and the training and the opportunities that presented themselves to me. As one of the volunteers, I had the opportunity to go out into the community and do workshops and trainings and lectures on heart-healthy habits and habits that help you lower your blood sugar, learn to balance your blood sugar, and a lot of tips and techniques to keep diabetes away from your family. So my personal journey started, I'd say, when I was a little girl. So my grandmother, I have these memories of being in grade 2 or grade 3, going off to school, coming home for lunch, and your parents are at work, so your grandmother is there. She has lunch ready for you, you're watching the Flintstones, she gets you all bundled up, you go off back to school. So as most families, my grandmother played a significant and strong role in our family. She was the matriarch, so grandma was always there. So over time, we noticed that grandma was having some trouble. She was exhibiting some symptoms of diabetes. Let me tell you what some of these symptoms are. Excessive thirst. If you find yourself unable to quench your thirst, you're just drinking all the time, you just can't satisfy that thirst, it's something to take note of. If you find that when you cut yourself, if you cut your finger or you cut your toe or your foot, that you're having trouble healing, it takes a long time for wounds to heal, that may also be a symptom of diabetes, and it's important for you to get checked. If you find you are going to the bathroom a lot, you have to urinate frequently, that is also a sign. So we started to notice some of these signs: excessive thirst, constantly having to go to the bathroom, wounds not healing well. And another one is if you're either losing a lot of weight really quickly or you're gaining a lot of weight really quickly. Another symptom or sign of someone who has dysregulated blood sugar, pre-diabetes, or may even be diabetes, is blurred vision. So if you find that you're having trouble seeing clearly, things are a little blurry, your vision isn't as sharp as it used to. And another thing are skin tags. If you have tags, just little bits of skin on your face, or sometimes on your neck, or sometimes by your armpits, or just on an area of your body, just a little bit of excess skin that you're almost tempted to tug at, but is not detaching itself. Those are called skin tags. So those are important things to look at if you have a family history of diabetes, or if all of a sudden you see some of these things. Okay, so back to grade 2, back to grade 3. Go off to school, come home for lunch, grandma makes you, a nice sandwich, or we had hot dogs, we watch the Flintstones, we go back to school. So after a while, some of these symptoms began to present themselves, and then grandma goes off to the doctor, she gets diagnosed. Grandma has type 2 diabetes. Now, as a child, you don't understand what type 2 diabetes is, and you get really scared and nervous when you see your grandmother having to, get these insulin injections and stab herself with a needle all the time, or have to test her blood sugar. So we grew up with lots of needles around. So she was the first person in my family who had type 2 diabetes diagnosed, and her treatment was medication. But if diabetes is not controlled, medication may not be the best option. It then escalates up to insulin. So that is something we grew up seeing. Every time you open up the fridge, the insulin was in the fridge. My grandma had, a meal. She would say, go into the fridge and get me my needle. So you know to go in the fridge and get the insulin. She injects herself. So this is what you see. You're scared. You see needles. You see someone you love and you're concerned about what's going on with them. Fast forward. So now you're a little older. You're not in grade 2 and grade 3. Maybe now you're in grade 7. You're in grade 8. Same deal. Go off to school. You come home. And then the symptoms that grandma was experiencing, now mom is experiencing. So either weight gain or weight loss, again, excessive thirst, just cannot quench that thirst no matter what you're drinking, as well as excessive urination, constantly having to go to the bathroom, blurred vision, so, eventually going to the family doctor who sends you to the optometrist, so now you're getting your eyes tested, and now you're wearing corrective lenses, and then skin tags, and then just feeling tired and lethargic, just not feeling like yourself. Mom goes off to the doctors. She gets the diagnosis with the same thing. So now, I'm a little nervous. I saw this happen to grandma. I saw this happen to mom. And then, dad's following that same path. As a child, diabetes was very scary for me. And I decided I needed to have a better understanding of this diabetes thing. What is it? If grandma has it, mom has it, and dad has it, am I going to get it? How do I make sure no one else in my family has it? So then I went on a mission, like I do with a lot of projects. You just go full steam ahead to learn as much as you can. I went back to school, became a nutritionist. I read everything I could get my hands on. I attended every trade show possible. I just immersed myself in everything. What I learned, I'm proud to say I was able to implement and share with my family. Type 2 diabetes is a chronic disease and can lead to all sorts of things. Heart disease, it can fall into, if left untreated, can lead to amputation, you can lose your vision, and eventually you can pass away because of the complications. Type 2 diabetes can be controlled. So that's the good news that I want to share. When I went on my mission and I became a nutritionist and I learned as much as I possibly could, I learned that it's a lifestyle disease. Really, that's what it is. Yes, there can be some genetic factors, but really, it's a lifestyle disease. If you look around the world, type 2 diabetes doesn't affect every country and every population equally. Unfortunately, countries, wealthy countries like ours, where our diet plays a huge role in the way we're living our lives, we're at risk. Diets that are high in starchy, carby, sweet foods. So, not a direct link between sugar and type 2 diabetes, but look at our diet. If we are not eating enough of the good stuff, and by good stuff, I'm talking about fruits and vegetables. I talk about this every week. Fiber is key. So when I talk to my clients and we're talking about food, I usually talk about the 4 F's. It's fat, fiber, frequency, and fluid. So let's talk about the first one. The first one is F for fat. We are not getting enough of the good fats. We're getting enough of too much of the bad fat. We need some more omega-3s in our life. We have too many omega-6s. We need to eat more olives and more nuts and seeds and get some good, healthy grass-fed butter or coconut oil. We are not getting enough of the good fats. So that is my first F, and that is something I shared with my family. So growing up, we ate a lot of fried food, and we didn't use a lot of the good fats. Avocados were rare, olives and nuts were rare. If it was a nut, it was a peanut. There are macadamia nuts, there are cashews, there are almonds. Also when buying things like peanut butter, right? So I talked about grade 2, grade 3, coming home for lunch. If you're having a peanut butter sandwich, we grew up with, store-bought peanut butter, where if you turn the ingredients over, the first ingredient is sugar. If you're having peanut butter, which I still love to this day, I'm more of an almond butter person right now, you need to have just the pure nut butter, nothing else added. You can visit your local bulk store or health food store and make your own nut butter, or better yet, you can even do this at home. You have one of those great pieces of appliances like a Blendtec, a Ninja, or a Vitamix, or any one of those other great high-powered blenders, simply put the nuts in there, put the raw nuts in there, and just add some oil and then hit blend. That's all you need. So nut butter is fine, but anything loaded with sugar. So the first step was fat. Incorporated that into my family. We ate way more avocados, olives, nuts and seeds, olive oil for our salads. We would make our own salad dressing, use some coconut oil. Seriously decrease the amount of fried food. So that was the first F. The second F was fluid. So I talked about excessive thirst when you have type 2 diabetes. So we had excessive thirst, and everyone was reaching for the wrong thing to drink. Not enough water was being consumed in my family, I would say. A lot of soda and a lot of juice, as I would say you find in most families. Soda and juice are filled with sugar and are not going to satisfy your thirst. Getting more clean water into your body is what you need, because it keeps you full and it will help with maintaining healthy weight. So that was something that we brought into my family. We drank a lot of soda. So when you remove soda from your diet, you're removing a lot of sugar. The other F is frequency. It's important to feed your body throughout the day. It's like stoking a fire. You can't skip breakfast, have a small lunch, and then come home and eat a huge dinner and then go to bed a few hours later. You need to constantly fuel the fire in your body. That's how you stoke your metabolism. So that is something that I also brought and taught my family, that it's important to eat small meals throughout the day, and that your meals are equally balanced with some protein, some carbs, and some healthy fats. And then so we talked about fat, frequency, and fluids. The other F is fiber. Fiber is what keeps you full. Fiber is what allows you to have healthy bowel movement. When you're eating things void of fiber, you're not feeling full, you're not feeling great, and that's why you're going to snack and overeat on things that you don't need to. So that is something we added to our lives. So you can have white rice or you can have rice and peas. When you have rice and peas, you're using brown rice and you're having beans, which are higher in fiber. So making simple swaps like that, if you're having pasta, you're usually just having white pasta, having a whole grain pasta or spelt pasta. Or if you're having, you're making dumplings, instead of using white flour, you can use whole wheat flour or cornmeal, anything that has more fiber. So simply incorporating those 4 F's allowed a lot of changes. So everyone was able to maintain their weight. They were able to lower their blood sugar and either reduce the amount of medication they're on, or in some cases completely eliminate it. So knowing what I know now and how making these small changes in my personal life as well as in my family has had much success and has allowed people to remove their medication or decrease the amount of medication or just be healthier and happier. It's something that I am now sharing with everyone that I do. So I do workshops, I do corporate lunch and learns, and I work with clients one-on-one, letting them know that type 2 diabetes may have a genetic component. If it runs in your family, that by no means you have to have this or the next generation. It's about making healthy lifestyle choices. And I'm not talking about anything drastic. So when we get into the next show that you'll check out, you're going to see I give a whole list of different tips, techniques, and strategies on what you can do when you're putting your meals together, or what you can do when you're dining out, or what you can do just throughout the day to keep yourself full, to keep yourself hydrated, and to seriously reduce the risk of type 2 diabetes. So if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out at any time. And I hope to see you at the next episode, where I give you some tips, techniques, and strategies on what you need to do to keep type 2 diabetes out of your family. I'll see you next week.
Do you want to be your own boss and make income or extra income with flexible schedule? Welcome to Keenan Courier. Keenan Courier works as a marketplace platform connecting customers who need something delivered with drivers that are willing to serve them. Courier with any